So one interesting thing with doing the reciprocity project is sometimes you get questions as like, how do you have time to do all of this kind of stuff? And the fact is that we have in a day to day, we have a lot of things, a lot of moments where you're not really doing that much stuff. And as I've been doing this, I have, doing this podcast, for example, or I'm on YouTube and TikTok and stuff like that. I try to use moments that don't rob me too much of the day to day. So I'm able to actually do work. I'm able to actually, live a normal life. It's just that I don't have any downtime anymore, right? And my downtime is actually kind of enjoyable because I'm doing this. Sometimes it's not, um, because every once in a while, this is the reason when it doesn't get enjoyable, is I put a video out and it goes viral and I get a lot of hate and it stresses me out for a little bit of time. Um, but for the most part, I just kind of live my life. And I think this is how we should sort of, this is a potential business model that people can sort of focus on is how do you live your life, have a good life, and do things that you have enjoyment from and just kind of continue with doing those things. That's why I love to sort of imagine. I don't like the idea of side hustles and all that kind of stuff. It's a little gimmicky and it's a little like, kind of crappy sort of view. But I like the idea of doing things that are hobbies, that you're doing it for the fun of it, but you're sort of motivated, self motivated in a certain direction. Um, and, going towards building something. That's what this whole reciprocity project is, that I sort of view at this point is, how do I turn this into a real thing and make it actually into a viable project. And I think that's where everybody should sort of view doing things. It's not side, I don't like the side project or, all of those kind of hacky kind of stuff because that is the wrong message. But it's more of how do you just live your life, enjoy your life in a greater way, and to have more fulfillment from the thing that you're actually doing by leveraging tools that are available to you without sort of, ever consuming your time. I think the idea of people pursuing something and sort of giving up their job and all of, sort of the typical way of entrepreneurship. I do not like that perspective because it's extremely risky. It's only not risky for people that are really, really young and just out of school and that have a lot of wealth behind them, that are fairly wealthy. But this kind of model of just living your life, doing your thing, um, and just doing it repeatedly for many, many years and doing it for decades upon decades and using available tools that are there actually is a viable model for almost everybody, right? So if you like knitting, you just start talking about knitting, for example. You make it into something that is just enjoyable, right? Like I think about elderly people, for example, that are in their 80s. Why not do something like this where they just talk? They just go and they tell their life lessons. They um, you know, do things about their hobby, focused around a specific hobby. Maybe they like crochet, and so they do a lot of stuff about crochet, and they just have grandma's channel about crochet. And, all of those kind of things are extremely valuable. And it's even, I think, where people kind of get like mixed up is they're like, well, nobody's going to pay attention to me. If nobody pays attention to you, that's fine. It's your hobby. You're doing it for the fun of it, and it doesn't matter the pace of it or like, yeah. So speaking of living your life, that was I was interrupted with a phone call, and that's my life. So I want you to sort of know that you're just gonna live your life, and as you're doing this, it's quite possible to just enjoy yourself. I know it does take a lot of work to actually do something like this. I am very well aware of it, but at the same time, if it's your downtime, right, instead of watching Seinfeld, which I still watch Seinfeld in the middle of the night because I'm trying to get to sleep, Um, if you're just kind of watching Seinfeld throughout the day or, having different hobbies, why not do something like this where you're talking about your hobby, right? Even talking about you could even do this, right? And this would be really fun. You videotape yourself or you record yourself watching Seinfeld, talking about and giving commentary on the Seinfeld episodes, right? Like anything can go. And where I was going with, it doesn't necessarily matter if how slow or fast or exciting it is because you don't know. There's so much randomness that's there, and sometimes the slowness isn't very enjoyable, right? This whole idea of ASMR, nobody would have ever imagined that people would have picked up on other people watching somebody's channel because it's slow. There's also like all sorts of slow TV and slow education that is just about quiet and peacefulness and all of that kind of stuff. And you could do those things. It doesn't, what I'm getting at is that the world is enormous, just absolutely enormous. And people have all sorts of tastes and they value different things. And you don't know what's actually going to take off or be handy to somebody until you actually do it. And if it's your life and you're just kind of living your life and enjoying it and doing things, every once in a while you get interruptions and create weird things happen. I think that's enjoyable. People are curious. So I want you to understand that doing things for enjoyment and just kind of living your life at the same time and sort of telling people, encouraging people to live their own life, I think is very valuable. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.